Alright people, how we doing? How's the start of the week? I'm not going back for the hospital, right? Obviously had to go and had to book an appointment today because obviously this was the first day that my GP was open. Um, the GP concurred with the assessment of the doctor for NHS 24, right? So I goes down to the hospital, right? Um, Went to the Vicky. Funnily enough, it was my pal Vicky that drove us. There you go. Um, and I've walked in, right, and it said approximately 5 hours wait. And I'm like, fuck. So I ends up saying to them, like, I'm weighing up my options here. I'm like, right, I can't leave my pal sitting for 5 hours, know what I mean? And then I'm like, right, fuck it. She's like, want me to book you in? I'm like, right, 2 minutes. I went out and I says to her, listen, this is what they're saying, would you want today? She's like, I'll go home and come back and get you if you want. So I'm like, right, brilliant. Um, so, uh, when I'm booked in now, I'm expecting to be there for about before 10 o'clock before I'm even seen. Get shouted an hour and a half later. It's this young guy, right, comes in, he's a physio. I mean, don't know what age he was, right, but I think I've got books older than this guy, right? And he's getting me to do all this and move your arm here and fucking like an orangutan, right? Like I was playing tricks like a monkey. And then says, nothing wrong with you. And I'm sitting thinking, you feel right arm and then feel there, and you're trying to say that doesn't feel weird because I was at the doctor's the day. The GP says basically, see, the ligaments are meant or something's meant to be like down here, well they're pushed away up here, and he's like, there's nothing wrong and da 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 da. And see every answer I'm giving him, I could tell he thought something different, and I'm like, no. See that way you can tell you're just not getting through to somebody, and they're not getting through to you. It's like, I don't know, it was weird. But anyway, when I walks out, he goes, don't know why your GP sent you, blah 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 blah, and then he says, sorry about that, and I'm like, sorry about that, like as if I want to have a fucking broken arm, a ripped arm, whatever. Just a bit strange, to be honest. Uh, I'm got to, just got to phone my GP tomorrow, and obviously I hope the guy's right. I really do, because I don't want to be having to quit training for like fucking 3 to 6 months, because I kind of looked a wee bit, I googled a wee bit of like this injuries, because I'd never had it like this, and it was saying something like 3 to 6 months at least for recovery and all that shit. And I'm like, fuck off, man. I'd need to stop got my class for that length of time, and just can't. I would need to do it, obviously, but anyway, onwards and upwards, innit? Fucking, yeah, cherry Jaffa cakes, man. Packet of them a day. Try them. Too good. I like cherry stuff. Cherry coke, all that shit. But hope you all enjoyed that podcast with Martin last night. I couldn't remember him when he told me his name right, but I knew his name. See that way somebody says, you know who you hang with? You know, I know for a fact I know who that is, but I just can't picture who it is. And when I spoke to him last night, I remembered. Um, quite, it's mad just to see it for that perspective in it, because we just, well, I do anyway, think that when you see somebody in a uniform, it's almost like they're a stormtrooper or something. It's like there's nobody behind the uniform. It's just the uniform you see. It's not like the person. I don't know. But in saying that, I don't look at all screws the same, cops the same, whatever. Well, go with cops and screws, obviously. I always treat them I just go with the individually how they treat me, unless there was more than one engaging in a concerted effort to do something to me, right? Um, but it was different. It was good. It's good for the channel and also just to get um somebody different on. Want to be doing a lot more of them, but as I says, man, all good. So I've actually made this is my third attempt at making this fucking video, right? Something always happens, my phone goes, the door goes, fucking roof gets blown off, somebody drops a house on my sister, whatever, right? Um, it happens to me quite a lot. It's like nobody bothers me until I try and do this, right? And it's like when I'm just about to finish the video, something happens. But this case that I wanted to talk about, the new, don't know if any of you have even heard it, maybe a couple of you will have obviously. It's in America, right? And it's known as the Golden State Killer, the Golden State as in California, right? Because obviously all the states in America have all got nicknames, the Buckeye State, the Sunshine State, the Empire State, all that shit. And this guy was a very unique offender in that he used to be like, he's studying the evolution of a serial offender. So basically, he had like these three clusters of crimes, right? So or here's the house breakings, or here's the sex attacks, or here's the murders. But so these three clusters are in different parts of California. Now the first cluster was the burglaries, right? Um, and I have read in some of the literature that burglarising premises and homes is a pretty, like a lot of kind of your serial offenders, your nonces and all that are all kind of, usually it's common in them, but obviously it's not. I don't know if it's statistically significant, whatever, right? Um, because they start out with the peeping through the windows, these guys, right? And then it will evolve into peeping through the window, fucking breaking into the house, and then it just gets worse and worse. Like anything, the evolution gets, you push it out more, push it out more, push it out more until whatever. So this goes back. These burglaries were started about 1974 in a small town in the kind of San Joaquin Valley. I think it's in this place. Don't quote me, but I'm sure it's in the San Joaquin Valley somewhere around about there. It's a town called Visalia, and this unknown offender was referred to as the Visalia ransacker, because what he used to do is he'd peep in houses and people would like spot him, but they never knew who it was, obviously, because he was always fucking masked up, gloves, whatever. It was always at night. And one time there was this, so obviously the whole town knew about this guy because all these houses were getting broken into, and he would just ransack the whole house, maybe take things that didn't really stick out to start with, like driver's license, a fucking set of earrings. Obviously they mean something to him, but because that's how he gets his kicks, to remind him what he's done. Obviously he's the only person in the world that knows where they came from, you know. Um, and there was one time there was this local guy who was a professor at a local college, right? He was driving home one night and seen a masked figure in his on his premises anyway, like looking in windows and all that. And when he's pulled up to the house, the guy's just fucking disappeared, right? So obviously they know there's somebody bad hanging about here, up to no good. And one night the guy's daughter was in the bedroom with her boyfriend, right? And they were talking about the ransacker, and the bird's like that. What would you do if I just went and pulled my bedroom curtain back and he was standing there? And he's like, I can't remember what he said, right? But she went and done it, and he was fucking standing there. And he just took off, right? So anyway, a couple of months later or something, this lassie's lying sleeping in her bed middle of the night, wakes up, gun in her face, it's this fucking nut job, right? He's marched her outside, tried to sneak her out the house in the middle of the night, abducting her in the middle of the night, and the dad's woke up, fucking tried to stop him. He shot the guy dead, battered the lassie, and disappeared, right? Now, obviously, that would have brought a lot of fucking. That would have brought a lot more police presence and all that, as you can imagine, knowing somebody like that's in your community. And then what you've seen is he's progressed for peeking in windies, prowling about fucking back gardens, into breaking into houses, wrecking the house, fucking then breaking in to try and abduct somebody, right? So anyway, the police have all started laying traps in all these places where he was known to hit these houses, right? And there was like a big task force for like the next town or the fucking highway. And there was a copper lying in wait in this back garden one night. And this guy's come into the garden and he's not seen this copper, and the copper's bounced out with his gun out and his torch. Fucking freestyle there, blah blah blah, and the guy's like, oh, don't shoot. This guy was a master of manipulation, man. He bet a kid on he was got to see that and rip his ski mask off to show him his face, and he's just done that, buff, pulled a shooter out, and in one movement, like it's one just shot. No, pull it out, aim, and then fire. That's two different movements. He's done it like he said marksmanship training or something. And the copper's been holding the torch, and it's fucking bullets just hit the bulb, bullseye, hit the bulb. The glass is splintered in his eyes, and the guy's got away. And the interesting thing was when I was reading about this case, I first found out about it in Shotts jail. I was dubbed up one day. An A&E programme came on called The Original Night Stalker. Now this guy's had like 3 or 4 different nicknames, right? Because they didn't know if it was one guy or 3 guys and all this shit, right? But when I started watching that, I was thinking, how the fuck can somebody who's been linked to 200 burglaries, 52 rapes and 13 murders no be caught? And I put that down to the difficulty of this type of investigation, because obviously they say Murder Squad, obviously the easiest murder to solve is one where the victim and the killer know each other. Well, this one they don't. He knows them, they don't know him. He stalks them for ages, does reconnaissance, learns everything about them. He'd break into the house and secrete bindings, ropes, laces in the houses, and then he would have that house set up. He would like fucking break into the house and unlock windies, unscrew windies, and so that he's got entry it back into this house and all that. Total fucking psychopath, man. But as I say, I'd learned about it in there. The guy hadn't been caught by this point, right? And I was quite incredulous how I'd never even heard of this, and a lot of it, like, there wasn't a lot of publicity about this case. There was just maybe in Sacramento and that, in the bits of California where all this happened. But anyway, I'll get back to like what was going on. So after what happened with him shooting at the cop in the back garden, the cop survived. The bullet hit the torch, and he had to get treatment in hospital, but he survived, the guy, right? And this guy, who was a cop, swore the guy he's chasing had law enforcement training, which I thought was quite astute, because they said that time in the garden he doubled back before they could set up a cordon, which to me sounds like somebody who knows how cordons are set up for cops. But anyway, round about that time, the burglaries all stopped in Visalia, right? And then see a couple of fucking 100 mile up the highway in Sacramento, which is Northern California, the capital of California, Sacramento. All these rapes started happening, and the media called the offender the East Area Rapist. So he's went for being known as Visalia. They didn't even know if it was the same offender. They weren't even linked to begin with, right? These crimes weren't linked. And it was always in the east side of the city of Sacramento, women being targeted home alone, right? So this guy had obviously been paying attention to his newspaper coverage, because what ended up happening was the newspapers were saying things like, looking for patterns. He doesn't attack he only attacks when the woman's home alone. He never does it when there's a male there. So what does he do? Starts doing it when the fucking breaking in hussies that he's been watching for weeks and months. Learning everything about every single person in that house, everything about them. Breaking into the house when they're not there to find the layout of the house, like a military operation. 100%. He done these crimes like they were military operations, man. Razor sharp efficiency for somebody like him. And what ended up happening was when the newspaper started saying he doesn't attack when there's a male there, he started doing that. And what he used to do was his kind of MO was he would break in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping, shine a torch in their eyes to kind of disorientate them, because you know what it's like when you're lying in your bed and somebody walks in, turns a light on, you're like, fucking hell, innit? Imagine what a torch is like in the dark, and I would be thinking straight away, this isn't somebody who's here to wish me well, because they're no turning the light on, they've got a torch in their horn. And one of the things that I found weird, right, was witnesses had described him, you know how when you hold a torch, you hold it like, I hold it like that, he was holding it like that, which to me says some sort of law enforcement shit. And what he used to do was get the female to tie up the male while he stood holding them at gunpoint, and then he would go back, tie up the female, and then retie the male to make sure, because he was a fucking master of knots, which would make me think either the Scouts or the Navy or something. So anyway, what he would do was, when the two of them were immobilised, he would separate them into different rooms, and then he would pile dishes on the back of the male while he was lying face down. And that's pretty unique. That's almost like a behavioural fingerprint, that. Because how many times do you think you hear that? Making the male lie face down on his belly and then piling dishes on his back, because if he moves either way, he needs to balance him, because if he moves him and that guy hears him, he's walking back in, that's what he's doing, he's threatening him, listen, see if I hear them drop, I hear them crash off your back, you're getting that, and I'll kill your missus too, or that shit, right? And it used to do mad things that really got me thinking. I'm got to be honest, I thought this was just decoys, psychological manipulation. He would say things like, so he would like rape the woman, and then he'd go into the hallway or the living room and he'd start greeting, going, I fucking hate you, Bonnie, like a woman's name, Bonnie. And I'm like, I think he's doing that because he's trying to just make the investigators think there's somebody called Bonnie in his life. So I just totally disregarded that, which was quite interesting, because it turned out later that he did have somebody like that. So anyway, there was all these kind of town meetings and all that, because of the nature of the offence, the offending and the offender, or that buying alarm systems, fucking shotguns, or sleeping with fucking hatchets under your pillow, whatever. And a lot of hysteria, rightfully so, not him. And what ended up happening was, so during one of these town meetings, right, this whole kind of, everybody's all sitting asking, it's like a Q&A for the cops, right, but it's the public asking, right, what will we do if he breaks in, should we try and kill him, whatever. And the police woman says, knowing what I know about this guy, I would shoot to kill, so butter in on it. I'm not, just my own personal opinion, no human being right like him has a right to life. You're just a wolf among sheep at this point. Do you know what I mean? This isn't, we're past the point of talking about his traumas and his aces and his fucking how his mom never hugged him or whatever. Like, we're way past this now, mate. There's nothing that you can. We're living in fairy tale land if we think somebody like this is reformed, rehabilitated. Man, you're just fucking. You're mad if you think that. I'm not saying you do, but just try to emphasise the point. Um, so one guy stood up in one of these town hall meetings and he was like, I refuse to believe that somebody could break into a guy's house and rape his wife and he never done nothing about this. I'd like him to come to my house and all that, right? See, 2 3 months later, that guy and his wife were victims. So what does that tell you? He was in that meeting. That is fucking... And I remember watching all these kind of programmes, right? So you just... where did I see it? YouTube, and I seen one in the jail as well, but well, the first one I seen was in Shorts 2008, but you never seen a lot of things about this case for some reason. And I think it was because a lot of the times it didn't have a catchy title, right? The title, this serial killer's name before he was ever known as Golden State Killer was Ear Ons. So Ear, EAR for East Area Rapist, slash ONS, Original Night Stalker. Original meaning he predated Richard Ramirez by about 10 years. So no a very kind of catchy title for a serial killer case, because you know how the media love to kind of give them all nicknames, and even like in organised crime things, Jimmy the Weasel, Bobby the Brush and all this shit, you know, and half of them have like some even guys I've been in with that are kind of well known and they've all got mad nicknames in the paper, half of them, nobody even fucking refers to them like that, it's just papers in it, but anyway. So that guy was attacked, and then there was a double murder after this, right? It was a guy and his missus walking the dog at 10 11 at night, and the dog has ran into a back garden and they've followed the dog to, like, see, like if your dog get off the leash or ran away and you're running after it to see where the fuck the dog's gone, and next thing you know they're getting chased down by this maniac and shot dead. And the funny thing is, the cops had turned up and found knotted shoelaces, obviously going to get used to tie somebody up. And I think that either the dog disturbed him in somebody's back garden prowling, or maybe they were the targets, I don't really know. But aye, guy in the Air Force out walking his dog with his missus, man, and fucking executed in the mid 10 11 at night, man. Shocking. So after that double murder in Sacramento, nobody heard nothing from him, and then he done a couple of more attacks, but it was on the road leading out to Sacramento, and then he just disappeared, right? So we're talking about, say, a year, something like that, 18 months. And then in Southern California, near LA, all these double murders all start happening. Couples murdered in their bed in the middle of the night. Bindings, signs of sexual assault, overkill, all this guy's shit, like the forced entry with lockpicking, whatever. Sliding door, he always used to target houses with sliding doors. So the first attack that he launched was in a small, I think it's a city or a town, right? It's called Goleta. It's in Santa Barbara County. It's no far from, it's just kind of up the road for LA, on the Pacific Ocean. And this guy and woman were in their bed, attacked, surprised by an intruder, but when he's tied them up, he separated them into different rooms, and I can't mind if it was the guy or it was the woman, but one of them, when they've been separated into another room, they've heard him pacing up and down outside the room going, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to kill them, so he repeating himself, and obviously the fight or flight's kicked right in, man, because one of them got up and just fucking ran right out the house with still blindfolded and all that, screaming help, help, help. He's ran out and grabbed whatever one of them it was, but see when he's ran out to grab one, the guy or the bombings ran out the back door and hid in a fucking orange grove or something. But then, by this time, the next door neighbours heard it, and ironically, the next door neighbour was a off-duty FBI agent, and he's chased this nut job in his motor, and the guy made his getaway on a bicycle. Now, just rewind a bit, right? During the attacks in Sacramento, see, there was a 16-year-old boy pursued this guy, chased him, and the guy ran and vaulted the offender, vaulted a fucking, say a 5-6 foot fence, right? And landed on the other side. Instead of keeping running, he waited for the wee guy to do the same thing. Seen the wee guy ran and jumped to a fence, he just shot him right in the stomach. Wee guy survived, but the reason that I'm pointing that out is because it tells you the kind of his fitness and his determination not to be caught under any fucking circumstances. He's playing for keeps, shooting 16-year-old boys in the stomach, trying to chase him down, know what I mean? Fucking lunatic, man. So anyway, after that double attack, the couple survived. There was another, hold on, 2, 4, another 12 murders or something. No, wait, he got done, no, 13 murders, so say 10, right? And it was all in these kind of upper middle class, kind of like seaside towns and cities. But I don't know if any's know this, right? So obviously you know I'm into like maps and geography and all that shit, right? So when I was studying this case, there's a thing called geographical profiling, right? And what it does is what they say is it's like most offenders commit offences in areas where they're comfortable, like offending comfort zone kind of thing. But when I looked at this guy's how prolific he was and how wide he travelled all over the fucking state, then just causing absolute nightmares for people's fucking life, man. And I remember looking at the murder spree because it was the murders I was most interested in, and they all happened in towns and cities on either side of LA. Now LA is in the middle, obviously on the coast, right? So on this side of the coast and this side is all these other towns he's done murders in. So as if he's using this highway. And I thought to myself, I wonder if he stays in LA because he's done, let's say, fucking 5 murders on this side of LA and 5 on this side. LA is right in the centre, so at the very least, he would have had to have travelled through LA to get from one murder site to the next. And his last known murder was 1986, which was when DNA technology became available. And I used to think to myself, did he hear about the advent of DNA and think, fuck that? Don't know, obviously, but good question, innit? And so the guys know had a recorded offence, and I say recorded offence, what I mean is I've always said, nobody's ever gets caught for all the shit they done, especially these kind of guys, right, man? They've always got fucking hidden bodies and all that shit, they love it. So I ended up, when I went to Low Moss in 2012, right, I got this book, right, so it's called Sudden Terror, the true story of California's most infamous predator, the original Night Stalker, by Larry Crompton. Now Larry Crompton was a detective involved in this case, right? So obviously, like, I've wrote a lot of kind of annotations in the margins, right? So see, just like fucking, like when you're analysing shit, you highlight it and you write wee things in the margin, like questions and all that. And I remember thinking to myself, like how this guy would use bike trails, dry creek beds. What I mean by that is like, so to and from the offending site, and that's obviously, he would use like he would always target hussies with fucking green belts at the back it, so see like if there was a park behind your back garden and all that kind of shit, just always keeping off of like the main roads and streets and all, quite smart. And fucking, the funny thing is, right, is I've said like, and then when I ended up going to Kilmarnock, I would just be getting like the staff, no, the education staff to print off old newspaper articles. I think I got what, one of the offending profiling assessments. Couple other, I think I've got them lying about somewhere, but I can't be fucked digging them out, man. I've got that much shit paperwork, not I mean, I don't think you'd be that, I'm not going to sit and read, well, I could have read it out, but try to fucking find it in it. And I kept thinking, like, how the fuck is this scumbag not being caught, man? And I remember in 2018, right, was it 2016, 2016, right, on like the 40-year anniversary of this guy's crime spree, the FBI launched an appeal, photo fits, like bits of evidence, blah blah blah, right? And I remember finding this interesting scientific article in the Lancet or some shit, I can't remember what the fuck it was, and it was saying how if the cops have your DNA, they can reverse engineer your DNA to build your face. Fucking nuts. Dr. Peter Clijs for Belgium, his name was, I think, or Clijs, something like that, fuck knows. And I was like, I wonder if, like, that's going to come online soon, because I think how fucked up would that be? Imagine you went out and done something, and no, even just a sex crime, say you done like fucking something and your DNA was found at a scene, your sweat, spit, blood, whatever. And then one day, man, they've just built your face and put it on the fucking telly, man. I'd be like, what the fuck? Know what I mean? But aye. So that was what, 2016, right? So fast forward, right? And but hold on. So during 2016, they ended up bringing it like a 3-part, 4-part documentary, Chasing the Golden State Killer or some shit. And there was this woman, a true crime author, Michelle McNamara, sadly passed away, right? But she wrote a book called "I'll Be Gone in the Dark," which was like one of his phrases. And she was obsessed with this case. She was just a stay-at-home mom or something. She fucking searched the internet all day, hunting down fucking trophies it had to, all that kind of shit. And she wrote a book about it, and sadly died just before it was published, right? So anyway, fast forward to 2018, right? I'm in Kilmarnock jail, and I was in education. I went into the library at the break because they have like the Daily Records, and you go and read it. Just sitting reading it, right? Just flicking through it. Not really. And then I turns the page, right, and it's like the full fucking 2-page spread, right? This wee fucking evil looking face with beady eyes and all that, right? Didn't think not. Obviously, straight away I knew it was some sort of fucking criminal because it had the crime scene tape outside his house and all that shit. And then it said something. It wasn't the headline that caught my first. You know what it was? A victim's photo collage. And some of these same photos had been in these books that I'd read. I'd seen these photos in, like, the books or in these old newspaper articles, and my fucking heart nearly stopped. And I was like, no fucking way, how did they catch him? And it's quite interesting how they done it. What ended up happening was, so see his DNA, they made it into like a profile, a fake profile, and logged it into like say Ancestry and fucking one of these ancestry websites, and it's given them all his fucking family tree, and they've just got this big family tree and started away up at the top like in the fucking 1800s, and just ruled every cunt out. Just searched for every single person on this family tree until they came to him. Sorry. And the guy who was investigating him, his name's Paul Holes, he's a criminologist, he was like a forensic fucking lab specialist, right? You should maybe look him up, or maybe stick a link on this video to a couple of documentaries or speeches. You don't need to watch it, obviously, it's if you're interested. I'm not fucking trying to fucking get you right into it. That Paul Holes had been hunting this fucking scumbag for about 30 stretch or something. And one day he pulled up outside this guy's house the day before he retired. and he sat outside the cunt's house, and then he says, do you know what? I don't know enough about him to go and chap his door. And then the next day he retired. But see the guy's house he was sitting outside, it was him he was looking for. What the fucking odds in that? Madness, man. But they've obviously got his DNA. They got his DNA for a tissue or something that he'd flung away, and that was it. And do you know the guy? His name's Joseph D'Angelo, right? The guy had 3 daughters of his own. Moved to LA after the Sacramento rapes, was in the Navy, and was a cop. That is pretty fucked up how somebody like that could even be wearing a shirt and a badge, you know what I mean? It's absolutely frightening. And it turned out, like, obviously, because they've pulled his whole life apart now, you know what I mean? And it turned out that, see, when he was breaking into all the houses in Visalia, he was a cop in the next fucking town down the road, and he was in charge of the task force investigating the Visalia ransacker. And now they're starting to think there's all these other kind of unsolved murders that he's done. And to be fair, there's one of them, I can't mind the lass's name, but it's is it Dawn or something? I don't know, right? And they think he might have killed her, right? No, it was like, I think it's outside, you know. It's not like a house breaking and it's she's been raped in a house and budget whatever. It's not like that. But what you see with a lot of these offenders is, see, their first murders, they're nothing like the rest. Even Richard Ramirez, a lot of people don't really know this or talk about this, right? Richard Ramirez, who was the other Night Stalker, was actually a paedophile who was interested in children. But it's like this Night Stalker persona. Do you know what I mean? It's like fucking wow, and all these lassies going up to visit him. He's a fucking beast. Same way Bundy as well. Bundy was into necrophilia. Bundy's prime, in my view, Bundy's first victim and his last victim were kids. The first victim, it's never been confirmed, but it's very, very circumstantial, was an 8-year-old lassie. His last victim was a 12-year-old lassie, but you've got all these birds and shit who think, oh, what a handsome guy. And I remember one time I heard a attractive woman saying, who was a student, saying he was a very handsome man, a pretty handsome man. And I've just looked at that, you're right up his street. Know what I mean? It's hindsight, but innit, this is how they lure you in. They come across with all the fucking, the charm and the wit and the fucking, all that stuff, but he ended up getting sentenced to, so it was 2020, because I was out by then, so he got caught when I was inside, and then any wee thing I seen in the papers, whatever, I would have to keep checking up on this case because of like how long I'd been reading about it and all that, and it was almost, it just feels weird when somebody like that gets caught and you've maybe read about them while they've still been out in the community. Like BTK was another one, had been reading about it and then he got caught. Who else? Long Island serial killer Lisk, that's an interesting case. Or maybe they one about that. He's just been caught as well last year. He's waiting to go to trial as well. That will be interesting, man. Fucking scumbag, man. And as I say, so 2020, sorry, I was thinking about something there, unrelated to this video. So it was during COVID, I remember. It was like June 2020, and I just sat in here and watched the live feed in the courtroom. And he was coming into court in a wheelchair and sitting like this and all that, and then, know what the cops done? Had a fucking video camera in his cell and he's stoning them fucking star jumps. We're talking about a 73-year-old guy playing dead, playing the chameleon, you know what I mean? Like, oh, help, 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 and you walk out, help him, he just bounces up and fucking knacks you in it, playing dead like the alligator until you get close enough, you know what I mean? It's lights out, man. Hopefully the guy's suffering every fucking day of his life, not with what's left of it anyway. Just horrible, evil individual, man. He ended up getting life without parole, obviously. I don't know why he didn't get the death penalty. I think he pled guilty to all his charges to avoid it, because we're talking a mountain of fucking charges, man. I think there was like 4 prosecutors in his case or something, so fucking some size of case, know what I mean? But it turned out that he had a girlfriend called Bonnie, right? Who, when I was saying earlier about he used to say, I fucking hate you, Bonnie, after just raping a bird in her house. He'd go in the toilet and start shouting, I hate you, Bonnie, and I'd be like, aye, right. Fuck's sake, he's wanting us to think, you know, somebody called Bonnie, you know, fucking stupid. But aye, it turned out it was his ex-girlfriend who dumped him. She said he was a psycho, not blah blah blah, not I mean, used to like killing animals, not fucking sick cunt. But they all stood up and gave their victim impact statements and all that, and some of them was just like, fucking hell, man. But it was really good to see like, especially, I'm not trying to minimise anything anybody else who went through in that case, but for murder victims especially, it's good, because knowing what happened to your daughter or your son, and knowing that that was their last moments, must be pretty fucking surreal. It's to me, it's the scariest kind of things, you know. But we're all different. So he's the jail he's in, it's called Cochrane, I'm sure. Not the place you want to be, especially if you're an ex-cop and done with rapes and double murders of women in a fucking, with some big fucking Mexican mafia boy, big Aryan or something, know what I mean? Gonna stripe him, man. They do it right all there, know what I mean? Screws will do it, never mind the cons. Fuck. But I'll stick a link to a documentary on know how the bottom of the video, like this video, the description, put links in there, just so that if any's, because like these videos, like, let's be honest, like, I'm just talking about what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard, whatever. There's nothing better than going to the source, do you know what I mean? So that's why I would just put the link there, so that if you wanted to find out more about it or whatever. So I've got my, what do you call it this week? My training for my volunteer thing with this offender charity. Obviously a bit nervous about it in a good way, but see, at the end of the day, like, it's what they said themselves, 100% of people who volunteered for us have gone on to full-time employment with us or with somebody else. So and it's a way of putting back and all that shit as well, and it's what somebody else said to me, it will lead to other opportunities, you know what I mean? Like, I've been out 4 years in September last year, and all I've done it with, I've been out, like, obviously at the start, having to adjust and find my feet, what works, what doesn't work, trial and error, all that shit. But there comes a point when now I'm just like, right, what's next? I've been out, I'm out, I'm as settled in as I'm ever got to fucking be. What's the next chapter? Obviously had a lot of kind of ups and downs, but it's just fucking life, innit? And I'm looking forward to kind of, as I says, meeting new people, doing new things, and being in the right circles, you know. Like, no harm to anybody from my past, but there's just a lot of them I don't want to be really ruining, because I know what I'm like, and that's why I keep myself to myself, kind of stay home a lot, especially with the shit that's up with me anyway, like with my my kind of condition, if you know what I mean. But there's always for everything, there's a lot of things I've not even spoke about on here. I couldn't really be asking into it, but a lot of kind of personal things that have made me just cut a lot of people off because they're just making the same mistakes all the time, and I can't afford to make any more mistakes, because if somebody is with me and does something, it's not going to be them that the cops want to speak to. And because cops usually want to speak to you based on your previous, and these people in my life didn't even have any. They had like maybe something for a fucking assault like 30 years ago. That's not really that interesting. And I know if I was a cop, and there was two people seen in the vicinity of committing a crime, and I seen somebody with my record, he's the guy getting spoke to first. Maybe that sounds biased or whatever, but I think we're human beings, right? Sometimes it happens. Um, but I just need to have the right circle around me, the right people, like the right energy. I do not need any more negative shit, man, because that starts affecting you and your mental health. Believe me, man, especially like in prison, if you're kind of fraternising with somebody that's just no handling their time very well, you end up questioning yourself. Like there was one person I knew was like that, and I used to sit with him a lot, and you could just tell he wasn't holding on his sentence, man, and I ended up like feeling the way he was. And then, do you know, when I stopped feeling like that, when I stopped getting near him, totally just lifted. So take yourself out of the situation, innit? And obviously got to, as I've said, I've wrote the first chapter in my book. I'm not looking to finish it by the end of the year, but in fact, as I said before, I've already written a crime novel. It's a fiction one, but this one I'm doing is obviously about my journey. But I've got another idea for a book and I want to call it 12 Rules for Desistance. And I've actually wrote down the 12 rules. And I want that to be an academic book, or based on academic literature. I want the book about my life to be like non-academic, like anybody could buy it and read it. And I want the 12 rules for desistance to be my kind of academic one, like, because I don't really see myself writing multiple academic books, but I want to write my own one, like one that I fucking wrote. Do you know what I mean? I think it's due, and that's what I'm going to call it, because it's in no honour of Jordan Peterson's work, 12 Rules for Life, but it was modelled on that. I'm not going to lie, if you've never read that book, you might like it. I like a lot of his stuff, and I know there's a lot of people that don't really like him, but see the people that I've met who don't like Jordan Peterson couldn't tell me anything Jordan Peterson said, couldn't tell me anything he wrote. It was because I would ask them things, and they would just be quoting shit for fucking the newspapers and all, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. We've all done it for newspapers, but you get a bit older and you start to kind of see what's what. But I think a lot of the stuff the guy says really hits home with, so that was why I modelled it after that. But obviously his is about other stuff, growth and all that. Mine's is about desistance for crime. So here's hoping that I can get a start in that, because there's nothing better than seeing a bit of writing take shape. I love it, man. But hopefully I'm not going to book my fucking training too long either, know what I mean? Because I was kind of worried about that. I was actually thinking I was going to have to quit my karate for 6 months and all that. Not something I want to be doing, especially not at the start of the year when I have a goal related to the karate and one related to the other one on that list I wrote. So here's hoping it's just twisted and then a couple of weeks later I'll be sound, know what I mean? But hope you're all having a good night anyway and you're only fucking getting up to any good. I'll probably, I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow night because I've got a couple of things to do in that, but I'll try and get on and all that. And there's a couple of other things I want to talk about, documentaries and all that some of you will find interesting or maybe not heard or seen before. So keep tuning in and cheers for all the positive comments and engagement. And was kind of happy to see like how people reacted to Martin's story. At the end of the day, he's just a guy doing a job. He's no fucking up to, and I could see that in him when I was in there. I could see it in a lot of stuff, but it's like anything, like this kind of bullying culture. You know what I mean? Somebody else had left a comment today about how they've worked in secure environments and they've seen all this shit going on. It'd be interesting to talk to a lot of people like that, you know. But hopefully there'll be more reaching out as the channel goes on, you know. So I'll leave you all to it anyway. I'm going to go and fucking stretch out because I've been on my feet all day, man, and I just need to fucking go and lie down. It's a bit early for it, well in fact it's fucking 10 to 9 for it's about 7:30. I'll leave you to it anyway. Cheers for listening and I'll be back on soon. You all take care, right? Good night.